Welcome everyone to this episode of Social Glue powered by Restream. Nice to see you. We've I can hardly believe it. We have made it to the last week of January already. How are you all doing? I want to hear how things are going. How are you feeling now that we're almost through? Anything stupendous happen? Are you off and running with your goals? Are you kind of like, stumbling a little bit, which is completely okay. We are all human on this show, and I definitely want to hear how you are all, coping with the quick movement of time, which is just something we're all privy to and have to cope with as we go through each day. But you are here with me today, and whether you're eating your lunch right now on your lunch break, or it's a little after lunch, or you're joining from somewhere who's not in the 4 time zones of the mainland United States, you could be doing anything right now, but you're choosing to watch the show, and I really appreciate it. I want to do what I always do, because these are global, and that's a huge part of why I love them, because literally anybody can join from anywhere. Would love to hear where you're watching from. So whether you're watching live or the replay, pop it in the chat. I want to hear where you're joining from. I am joining you from Denver, Colorado. I was just sharing with today's guest off air that I'm very chilly. It is actually pretty wintry here today. And so I'm wearing my scarf. I hope you guys like it's even theme colored. It's quite lovely. But this is my scarf. This is me. This is who I am here today with you from Denver. So wherever you're joining from, would love to hear it in the chat. And you never know, you might make a buddy in the chat, find somebody else like, hey, you're in my area. I know you. This show is all about connecting, as social is about connecting, and also just about making sure you know what's going on with social, whether it's a what or a who or a where or a why. That's why we're here. I do want to bring up, as you can tell by the title of the show, Social Glue powered by Restream is literally powered by Restream. You're watching this through the power of Restream.io. I'm able to go live on multiple channels. Right now, you're seeing us either on LinkedIn, on Twitter, or possibly on YouTube. And there's even a widget on my webpage for Social Glue where you can watch there. And it even shows you saying, oh, did you want to go watch natively on the platform? Here you go. Pretty cool. Along with many other things. And so please do watch the show, see all the capabilities and stuff. But not only is the content cool in here, but the functionality is pretty awesome too. So big thank you to Restream for powering Social Glue. And let us hop into the first segment of the show. So we always kick off the show with the intro, but then we're going to hop into the actual news, Social Glue news. So let me just pop up my screen right now, and I'm going to change the screen orientation, which I can do, and bring this over here. See, beautiful. So let's jump into what's going on with social in the news. So first up, Google Maps plus vaccinations. So vaccinations is the news of the hour. I actually saw on social this last week where it said on dating apps, if you're vaccinated, that's like the hottest thing ever. I believe it. People are so interested in trying to get together again, physically or otherwise, but they just want to feel safe. And I have to tell you, I get a little thrill every time I see a first responder or a teacher or a frontliner in my feeds that said, hey, here I am getting my vaccination, and here's how the experience was. I love it. I'm probably, like many of you, not going to get mine. I would say maybe June or July. Who knows? Maybe it'll go faster by then, but I love seeing it. But that's why it's important today to kind of look at what's happening with Google. So starting with the states of Arizona, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Texas, Google Maps search results will feature information about whether you'll need an appointment or referral to get vaccinated at a vaccination station. It'll tell you if the vaccine is limited to certain population groups. Obviously, right now, it's probably limited to people who are age 65 and older, and teachers and medical professionals and things like that. It'll also, through Google Maps, tell you if the vaccine is available at a drive-through location. Yes! I saw someone else joking on Twitter. I believe it was Christina Garnett who was saying, hey, let's put Amazon and Chick-fil-A in charge of this thing, because you're talking about just getting people through quickly and efficiently. Yeah. So there are drive-through locations. I believe there's some here in Colorado actually too. So wherever you are, again, it's going to roll out more widely. They are starting with just the 4 states, but it will go further from there. I'm sure they're going to test out all the features and see how real time the results are. So pretty cool that they're doing that. Moving on, This was a new development. And again, some of you are already, especially if you work in social media, you're familiar that you can schedule Instagram posts to a degree. You do usually have to use a business account to be able to do it and have to be using some type of scheduling tool. So Instagram is actually their API has branched out to where they can do content scheduling. And an API, just for those of you who don't know, and some of us probably know what an API is, but maybe not what it stands for off the top of your head. I had to look it up. Application Programming Interface. Basically, it's a thing that says, hey, do you want to hook up HubSpot to Salesforce? The API lets you do that. Do you want to hook up your LinkedIn page with a scheduler like Buffer? LinkedIn's API allows that to happen and connect to Buffer. It's a connectivity issue where they can talk to each other, okay? But now the API supports scheduling and publishing for business profiles on Instagram of single photo or single video post to your feed. And each account is going to be limited to 25 of those posts within a 24-hour moving period. So I don't know if some of you are posting like 25 times on Instagram. Some of you businesses are. Would love to hear from you. Talk to me about your strategy and where to follow you, because that's interesting. But that is a new API. They've been testing it with some vendors like Hootsuite and things like that and Sprout Social to make sure the API is working, but it should be more widely distributed across all scheduling schedulers tools that we social media people love to use and makes our lives way easier. Should be rolling out pretty soon after that. So that is coming. Next up, yes, Pinterest has stories. It was only a matter of time. They've been dabbling with this already, but yeah, you can actually go onto Pinterest right now in your app and you will see stories along the top. Now, this is not available to everyone yet. Only creators who have a business account can apply, and they're not giving it away to just everybody yet. And I did see that they're only allowing accounts who have been pinned by the pinner to be able to appear at the top. So you are going to see a very selective amount of creators along the top of your Pinterest. I almost said Pinstagram. That'd be an interesting mashup of your Pinterest app, and you can see those stories up there. So do go ahead and apply. Seriously, just go Google Pinterest stories and it'll walk you through like who it's getting rolled out to. It'll give you an application form. Don't bother applying if you don't have a business account. Maybe eventually they'll roll it out to everybody, but I think as Pinterest does, they are counting on people to actually make some commerce on there. So, and lastly, now this is probably the one that you may have heard of more in the mainstream news rather than just social news. Reddit day traders. All right. So I found this story interesting because I happen to be a gamer. I'm not prolific. I'm not online all the time. I do have a Twitch channel. I hardly ever go live on my Twitch channel with my gameplay, but I am familiar with GameSpot. They are a vendor where you can go get, new or used games in all the consoles and the, swag that you might want to get from them too. So here's how it all boils down. So GameSpot is having a day, actually several days of awesomeness in Wall Street with their shares. But here's why. Essentially, there is a subreddit on Reddit called Wall Street Bets, and has 2.2 million members. And what they do is they tend to post on there about their high, and joke and post and brag and things like that about their high risk trades and things like that. Now, because there's a lot of activity in that subreddit, and sometimes people keep sharing it and upvoting it, some of those posts tend to hit the popular subreddit. So when you have a post on a subreddit in Reddit, and it gets enough upvotes, Reddit will say, ooh, that looks like it's a popular post because so many people are interacting with it, and they'll bring it over into the popular subreddit. Now, a lot of people will go check that out because they just want to see what's trending on Reddit. So now, aside from the 2.2 million members of Wall Street Bets subreddit, you've got all these other Reddit people and Reddit users who are seeing that post, and now they're interacting and they're going and finding. And a lot of these posts were about GameSpot and trading up and trading the shares and increasing the share price. So that's essentially what's happened. And now, since GameSpot has been the topic, stuff went viral on Reddit about GameSpot, and Wall Street's analysis and predictions really couldn't have anticipated it. So essentially, GameSpot is having one heck of an opening to Q1, and a lot of hedge funds out there just like, what the heck's going on? And the Reddit users who are in the subreddit of Wall Street Bets are like, ha ha! That's essentially what's happening. Good for GameSpot that they're having a great day. We'll have to keep watching this and see what happens, but it is truly interesting and just goes to show there is great power in social and interactivity, and when things can go viral, and no one can really predict it, as Wall Street demonstrated. But here we are, and today Reddit is pretty much driving GameSpot's climb in the shares. So that is pretty much our news segment for today. So glad, and I love my guest who I'm about to bring on already made a hashtag for me about Pinstagram. I'm sure I would bet it's already out there, but it seems, it's like it just rolls right off the tongue. Let's just say that. So let us get on to the next portion of today. And so here's the main reason why this show got created. Social media. Literally, the person who does social media out there and does it well is a unicorn. Let's just face it. There are people out there, you are a graphic designer, you're a copywriter, you're a project manager, you're a PR person, and you are having to do, and you're a community manager. My goodness, you're a customer service person. You have so many qualities and talents that you roll into one person that can be a social media pro. And I think more of our social media pros out there who may not be widely known should be widely known. They deserve to get recognized for all the work they've done. And what I love too is when we can bring on guests like today where they have a career in social media and they've really built it and kind of demonstrates to the rest of us how possible it is. So without further ado, I'm happy to bring into our chat today. Our Social Glue shout out is Josh Krakauer, and he is joining us. Hello, Josh. Welcome to Social Glue powered by Restream.
Hashtag Pinstagram. How are you?
Nice to, I'm doing great, and I think everybody should start using Pinstagram now, and maybe that'll be an idea for a developer out there. Be like, I should make like a mashup between the two. Good idea. Sure. But Josh, thanks. Where are you joining us from, by the way?
I'm in exciting DC.
Oh, it is exciting. Yeah. Do you live there? I'm sure that's been an exciting time to be there for the last month, at least.
It is. I've only been here for about 6 months. We moved from our agency's headquarters is in Iowa City, Iowa, right in the middle of the Midwest. And we came out to DC just in time for an historic election and the overturn of the Capitol and all sorts of exciting things. So it's been quite a good time, interesting time to live here.
It sounds like it, very, very much so. Well, I'm glad you're safe and sound, and glad you're able to join us from Washington, D.C. So, Josh, I'd love our audience to get to know you, and usually what I do is I kick that off with asking for you to share with us your origin story. We all have one from social media, since many of us are older than social media has been, and so I would love to hear how and when you got started, and kind of how you evolved from where you were then to where you are today as the CEO of Sculpt. But take it away. What's your origin story?
Everyone that works in social has some obscure internet background. Mine was beginning life in Web 1.0, which were the sort of forum era. It's not like forums don't exist anymore. It's just as a mechanism to bring people together with a shared interest. Mine was cars. I taught myself how to work on and build and race cars just from the power of the internet. I met a lot of my friends in high school. They were in their 30s, and I grew up in the Chicagoland area, and there was a large, drag racing community there. That was my background before college, is building these communities online, getting hundreds of people together, starting forums that made money, and didn't really see where that was going in a career until college was early Facebook era. And that really helped companies find a path to using social media to grow their business. At the end of college, this is 2011, 2012, early social media marketing career days, started our agency, Sculpt, with the mission to connect brands with their customers online. And back then that meant Google Plus, believe it or not. And being a part of the early community manager appreciation, community manager hangout community, kind of that early crew of people who were the only social media manager on their team, way before there were full-on teams for it. And our whole thing was, let's bring what only the largest brands, if you remember back then, like the star examples of great brand social were like Skittles and big CPG brands. There were very few companies that were small to mid market that were doing an exceptional job. And so that was our whole ethos, was let's help them do social better.
I love that. How many people do you have on staff or on your team at Sculpt today?
Well, like most agencies, we're kind of a hybrid between, our core team and our large specialist network, that still count as team. So we're about 10 full-time team members, and then an extra, 15 designers, campaign managers, freelance contractors that work on client to client. And we've been larger, we've been smaller, but we've kind of found this perfect fit for the very specific type of brands we work on.
That's great. And as of someone who's been in social media, I think my first Twitter account I created for a brand was in 2008. And so it is, I mean, when you look at other industries, it is still pretty young, but my goodness, the way it's evolved. And so I love what you've shared too, just about how, start out with Google Plus, which is no more. But we have now so many things. I mean, we just talked about Pinterest and Instagram and Reddit, and of course now we've got all these new ones that keep coming out, like Clubhouse and things like that, and TikTok, which of course is giving Facebook a run for its money. And you just never can anticipate what's going to change and stuff. What do you think is the key to being a successful not only professional but an agency that works in social media?
Absolutely. A lot of it's adaptability, but some of it's too is knowing what your specific focus area is going to be. Social, as you talked about, really breaks down not into one thing, like one channel as it is, but into strategy, into content production, into community management, paid ads, and analytics, and a little bit around education. But those are really the 5 areas. And so I think the big thing for any social pro, or certainly any agency, is where is your lane going to be? Just like you'd want a T-shaped career person, I think agencies work the same way. What's going to be your domain that you're going to go super deep on? So maybe that's channel agnostic, or what is going to be the functional area that you're going to be able to bring the most value to? Because if you're just kind of okay at all of them, then you have to, spend a lot of time trying to. It's very difficult to really be successful doing a little bit everywhere.
Yeah, like if you try to be great at so many things, you're only going to be good at them. Like you can't. It's really you're right. It is really hard to just say, well, we're going to be fabulous at absolutely everything. It's like that's hard and probably a little unrealistic. But yeah, I appreciate that too. I think it's important for people. I've known some entrepreneurs too in social too who they just like, hey, this not only is it something I'm good at, but I'm interested in it. And the great part about social is it's ever evolving. I mean, you're never really going to get bored, because I know a person who she tends to, gravitate toward Google Maps and locations and SEO for people's businesses. And even look at that, it changes. I mean, through COVID had to do a ton of shifts and cartwheels too. And so they were having to, advise their clients, okay, here's how to handle this, and it'll be different tomorrow. So I think that's fabulous too. I love hearing about your success too of working in social, and now look where you are with a CEO of an agency of social media pros. So we're happy to bring to the limelight here. Well, let's continue. I want to continue on some expertise you can share with us, because we're going to segue into the social glue question of the week now. And with that, I'm going to bring up our slide. And again, you guys, any of you can submit your own question at really.social/social glue. But let's go ahead and bring this up on the screen. And of course, I'm going to make sure I make this all pretty. Awesome. Okay. So, Josh, can my business, anyone's business, can they just rely on organic, unpaid social, no paid, no boosting, just posting stuff out? Or do we really need to use paid social for a business? Would love to hear as much as you want to go on about an answer to that.
I mean, do you want to grow your business or do you want to have a social media presence? I think the problem that we face, and probably the thing that we fight most as an agency, is fighting the urge to just do the thing, the activity, be we talk a lot about consistency in the social media marketing world as the best practice, but that's not the best practice. The best practice is improving. And I think in order to improve, what you really need to do is figure out what is working against the most important objectives that social media ladders up to, and then improve that. So can you be successful on unpaid social media as a community manager? Oh yeah, totally. Because, or a brand that has lots and lots of people commenting with your brand organically because you're doing advertising heavily in other spaces, of course. But I think if your goal is use social media to drive a business impact, very specifically, like people into our sales funnel, or more people to know who we are, or to drive a specific audience group to engage with our company, all those things rely on a integrated paid approach. And it doesn't mean you need to spend beyond your capacity, but what's the point of speaking to the same audience again and again and again, which is what unpaid social does, a
Mhm.
fraction of your audience again and again and again, if it's not the right audience, or if it's not moving the needle.
You made such a great point there. Because yes, as if you're developing a community and building on it, so people who are already following you and they're faithful and might even bring you some more eyeballs because of who, sharing your stuff to their feeds. Great. Yes, you can totally get by with organic or unpaid social, but you're so right. Trying to just bring more people into the fold and growing, you got to spend a little to get a little, and probably even get a lot. I mean, if any of you and social pros out there, you can speak to this. Some advertising out there on some of these platforms is exceptionally cheap to get out and try to just, whether you're trying to grow your follower count or like count or subscriber count, or you're just trying to get that piece of content or that a funnel item in front of some eyeballs that mean something to you. The targeting is amazing out there. So I totally think that was a great point to bring up, along with everything else you said too, that it just depends what you want to do, but also depends, where do you want things to get seen and what do you want the end result to be? Unfortunately, we have pros like you and people who work at Sculpt who can help with that kind of thing, and make sure people are making the most of it. So really great insights for that. Thank you so much, Josh, and I really appreciate you being on the show today too. I know we're coming close to the end of our time, but anything else? Any other just any random advice? Again, I know you work with a lot of businesses, so you might have something you're like, yes, I say this over and over again. Any other random piece of advice you want to throw out to businesses who are trying to incorporate social into their strategy?
A big part of when we talk about paid and making the case for it or not, I feel like one way to help make it easier, or to make some sense out of it, is one, we often bucket social as a brand awareness channel. But if awareness means we're just talking to the same people again and again and again, and only a fraction of them, is that really helping
Mm.
more people associate and understand and know our brand? Is that really expanding? So I think there's a case to be made there, as putting even a little bit more of what we would call an organic plus. That's kind of the strategy we like to call it. Is it's not organic social media, it's organic plus a little bit of paid. So deciding even just to start promoting more of your posts to one single audience, even if it's just a lookalike or a follower audience, is still going to help move the needle. And just think of the cost it takes to create every single asset, and take away 2 to 3 posts that you would otherwise normally have to make and pay for, and instead put that money into reach.
Perfect answer to that question. Thank you for that. It's brand awareness. Well, more people need to be aware. So get it out there and plug a couple dollars in there if that's going to help you do it. Josh, thank you so much. It was great having you on today's show as our shout out guest. I know about you now, and more people do too. And so I'm really pleased you could join us and also bring some light to Sculpt as well. Thank you so much for being on Social Glue powered by Restream.
Okay. See you soon.
Bye. Thank you. All right. See, again, knowledge bombs going everywhere. And I heard someone say, don't call them bombs, call it glitter. Perfect. Glitter does get everywhere. So thanks so much to Josh for bringing not only his experience in social and his origin story, which again, everyone's got a different one and it's really cool to hear, but really invaluable nuggets of knowledge he just dropped there too. I'm using all kind of analogies with the knowledge. Apologies, but knowledge is meant to be all expansive. So here we go. But really awesome. So if you are a business and could get anything out of that, I think you got some really good tactics there and also just some overall strategy knowledge of how you can use social and what it is and what it isn't and what it can be. So thanks again to Josh from Sculpt for being our guest. And so really quick, I just want to remind everyone about Restream is what is bringing this show to you today on multiple platforms and allowing us to bring on a guest, share a screen, change the shots up, show captions, showing comments by people in the let me just show one really quick by Anne. I loved what she posted in here earlier. What's your goal with social media content? That helps to decide whether paid social is called for. Integrated social approach, yes. The organic plus. I love that term. I will make sure that we credit Josh for that from now on. But and Anne is also saying, I'm borrowing that. But we heard it. We heard it here on Social Glue from Josh Krakauer. So appreciate that. That's awesome. So great insights, everyone. So again, I'm using Restream to be able to show you the captions of our audience, show our guests, show our questions. I'm able to screen share and show that on here. And today I was able to make this an event. So I set this up as an event on LinkedIn and on YouTube. So that it is appearing in the event. And so it kind of creates the post ahead of time for you to let people know, hey, this is coming. Pretty cool. Love Restream. I love all the capabilities that it gives me to be able to bring you these people and the news and the social haikus. Yes, we're going to close with a social haiku today, everyone. Now, a haiku, as I'm going to remind you all the time, it is a poem. It's not a hard poem to do, though. It is 3 lines. It's a 5-syllable line, a 7-syllable line, and a 5-syllable line again. And I actually wrote today's because I was feeling inspired because of the news about Reddit. And so I'm going to pop it here on the screen so you guys can all be privy to my poetry, which, you know, is what it is. So today's social haiku. When the stocks and shares start to fly and go viral, Reddit reigns supreme. At least in January. And I didn't include that as at the end, but just goes to show, just as and that again, that was a lot of organic traffic, but you know, not necessarily intentional, but it just happened because of the nature of Reddit and the nature of the social platform it was on. So it's really important to realize how all that stuff can work together so you can go viral in a good way, not the bad way. We don't want to go viral in the bad way. So thanks for everyone. And if you have a social haiku that you'd like to submit, again, it's really easy. I came up with that in about 3 minutes. It's totally easy. And yes, you do use your fingers to count the syllables just to make sure. But submit your haiku at really.social/social glue. It's where you can find all the information about this show. Submit a haiku, original haiku. Don't borrow somebody else's. Submit a question you'd like our guest to answer that week. Submit yourself. I am taking guests for upcoming shows. We have someone for next week, but we are all scheduling forward. So if you are someone or know someone who should be on this show as a social pro in our Social Glue shout out section, please by all means go to really.social/social glue and you can sign up to be on the show just like Josh did and got to share with us all the stuff he is and knows about social. And we'll be on here next week at 2 p.m. Eastern on LinkedIn and YouTube. And yes, I have been going on Twitter lately using the Periscope engine for live streaming just because I love Twitter. I do. It's my favorite social app. I did start getting into Reddit, but I love Twitter. Sorry, I just do. Actually, I'm not sorry. It's a great thing. And I want to remind everyone too, if you are thinking about being a guest on the show, and I have to reach out to a couple more of my guests today, but I do giveaways. So at the end of every month of shows, each of my guests is randomly chosen to win one of a few prizes. So we can give away a 6-month Restream Pro license for free to one of our guests. We can give away 2 1-month free Restream Pro licenses, and we can give away some Restream t-shirts. So you get something when you give something. And again, I'm going to point out my friend Anne just wrote an article about that today, about being a go-giver. Give away, and then you're going to get some stuff too. And that's how we roll right here on Social Glue, powered by Restream. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next week at 2 p.m. Eastern, right here on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on YouTube, and also at really.social/social glue. Have a fabulous day, and I look forward to seeing you then.